Hi all, it's Kylie from Kylie's Cardcraft. Thanks for joining me for class today. Multi-envelope flip. You know I love my envelopes and I think they're great for flips. We've done our basic flip at the start, which was our first page, which was just the one flip. Now we're going to use multiple envelopes to do numerous flips. So we've got this way, we've got this way, we've got this way, and we've got this way. All can hold journaling cards in there for you. Okay, so this is just another way to use your envelopes, and we'll do more as we work our way through the book, but you can start to see how it starts to fill up this book. Okay, so it's starting, you know how when we originally gutted our book or took out our signatures, our books wanted to do this. So you can see now that they're sitting straighter because they're filling up and you're able to put in all these extra flips. It'll mean, hopefully, can't guarantee, that it won't be too gay to mouth when it's finished because we've got all of this area that we can fill in, but it's making our book now start to get a little bit more sturdy. So this is today's. Next week, so today is Thursday and I'm running late. Today is Thursday while I'm actually filming this. It is meant to be uploaded in 4 hours time. I can't guarantee with our internet speed at the moment that it will. So if I'm late today, my apologies in advance. It's about all I can say. It's been a hectic week at work and I've got next week off work. Yay, I love Easter. So I'm hoping to get ahead of myself again. Next time, so for Easter Sunday, we will be going on with our paper bag flips. And so this one's still in progress. As I said, I've been running short on time. This one will be adhered down. We've got a pocket in here. We've got a pocket in here. And then on the other side, this will be a flip. So that's what's coming up. But for today's, we're going to do our envelopes. As I said before with my books, if they've just got my background papers on there and they just need those, I will have them on to save a little bit of time. And if I stop talking, we can save even more time. What do you reckon? So if we go to the book we're working on, changing over, and we're here. So I've already put my backgrounds in. Again, I'm using my WhichCraft Do You Do background papers. So this is the Pages Pack set 1 and this is page 6. I love this set and I think what I'm going to do is use these for my backgrounds all the way through. So it keeps that mottled effect all the way through. And I've just got to go back to these ones all the time. And I have them, oh, excuse me. I have them in my folder, which is all my WhichCraft Do You Do digitals, and my Pages Packs are at the end and they're all sitting there ready to use. Okay, you can see I need to fill up that one. The other ones that we're using today, nope, we're not using any today. Next week, if you want, or next week on Sunday, if you want to be, I'm jumping into the bits and pieces ones and we're using all of these wonderful ones from the bits and pieces. Okay, so I want to start getting on to those ones. But for today, we will be using a little bit of my favourite one, which is this Mix and Match Mini Journal Kit 1. So I've got a few bits and pieces that I'm using out of this one today. Let's get on with it. I am also using another digital set today, which is for all my other butterflies, because I love my butterflies. And that is Vintage Butterflies Set 2 from Tailor Made Journals. Another Etsy store. Have a look at some of hers as well. But I love this butterfly set. And so I quite often use it. And it's all just sitting in here and I can pull it all out. So I'll just sit you back to the side because that's in the box for this album. Right. So, and here are all my bits for today. Look at that. Yeah, I know. I'll stop talking. We've got lots of work to do. So, first things first, when we want to make a multi-envelope flip, we want our envelopes. Now, your envelopes can be any size you like. They don't have to be all the same size. Personally, for me, I like to have different size envelopes. It gives that added little look of layering and excitement, and you see a peek of one hiding under the other one and all the rest. So the 4 that I've picked for this one, they are different to the other one, because my other one, I just have collections of envelopes sitting all over the place. So I've got 4 envelopes here, but I might not have 2 of each envelope or 3 or whatever else. Yes, some of them I do, but not all of them. So for my ones for this one, my bottom one is my largest. Okay, so that's my base. Doesn't matter what colour they are. All right, so that's my base that will be adhered onto here. The one I want on top of that is this one. And I'm just going to sit him in there. We'll go through how we do it. So you can see when he's on, you've got a little bit of that one coming over. My next one is a long skinny one that I have coffee dyed, and it would have been a self-seal one. So I've already trimmed off here. And that one will attach to that one. So again, I've got all these different layers going on. And I love all these different layers. You'll see them properly when I start to actually attach them. And my top one is about the same width as that one, but it's shorter again. So see how it gives me all these wonderful little layers? What we're going to do to start with, and I usually find it's easier if you need to attach them all together first and then decorate, because then you're not remembering to which one goes now, which one goes now. So you work that out to start with. And hang on a moment, I'll pull this one back over for you. And you can see that I've just added bits on to them left, right and centre, so I'm not covering the whole thing, which makes it harder to then trim around. Does that make sense? So beginning this one, to make it nice and easy, we're going to do the same sort of thing, and we'll keep working our way through the book and getting a little bit harder each time. So first things first, we're going to add all these together and attach them, and I find the easiest way, a little bit of double-sided tape. I need my scissors. So that's my layer that I want. Makes no difference whether you start at the bottom or whether you start at the top. Okay, so we'll start at the top. How's that? So my first one is this one, and it needs to be added to that one. Now you can have them up, down. I usually go round about in the middle. I'm going to take this bit off because half the time my envelopes are old. I can't guarantee that that is going to actually hold. I'm going to pop a bit of double-sided tape just on the edge of that fold. Okay, my double-sided tape will hold them way easier than if I've used glue, if I've used the adhesive that's left on them. I'd just much rather prefer that. What I'm then going to do is trim this down so that it is just the size of my double-sided tape, so it doesn't create too much bulk, because the tape will hold it really, really well. I don't need any more than that. So peel that back. I'm going to fold over those edges just so that they're back on the edge, and I don't have to worry about cutting it the right size and all the rest. As I said before, this one's going to go on that one. So I'm going to just turn it around, sit it so that it's about in the middle, round about. Lift this up, slide it against the fold, slide it against the fold, and push it down. So there's our first one in, and we've got this bit here. If you want, you could always put an extra thumb hole in there. Probably wise to do it beforehand, but let's do it now. I want a rather large thumb hole, so how about that? So let's go to my big one. We'll see if we can get it in now. Yep, look at that. That's going to fit in. So a half oval, about there. There we go. And now I've got a slightly larger bit. All envelopes are going to be slightly different. Let's put that away, Kylie. So there's that one. Our next one will go in there like that. Okay, just in here. And this will fold over that one again. So again, we'll go back with our double-sided tape. Envelopes are great because they give so much difference to your journals. They're great little secret hidey holes. They create so much difference. I love them. There's so many uses for them. They're one of my favourite things to do in my journals. And you can change it each time. So you can have some going one way, some going the other way. The only thing you need to remember, now that's going that way. One of the things you need to remember, that one's going that way. So we're going to go from this side this time. Turning it over. Now, you can see here, see how we're now bigger? If I fold that over, it's going to want to attach on there. So what I'm going to do, work out exactly where I want to go. Doesn't matter that my double-sided tape is on there. Hold it up so it's against the fold. And I'm just going to trim straight down here. And I'm going to trim this bit off. And I'm going to do exactly the same to the other side. Like so. Okay. I'm going to trim that down there because I didn't trim it off with my scissors, just on the edge of where that double-sided tape is. Like so. Right. So now when we fold it, it should match that beautifully, which it does. So we're going that way. We're going that way. This one's already down. Now our last one, this one will go in here. Okay, so same thing again. We're going to match that way like that. So we'll put our double-sided tape on it again. I want that one. This one's got a lower flap on it, so I won't need to cut this one out. Now I've got too many pairs of scissors. And as this one's going on to, ugh, they're getting blunt, must pull out a new pair. And as this one is going on to this, which is our largest one, so he's going to sit in here like that. Again, I won't need to trim my excess past here because there is no excess. So we'll just cut this back. Hope I haven't gone too quick. Just play with it, do it one at a time. That's why I find quite often they're easier to join first and then decorate, because otherwise you'll get yourself into a complete muddle. Well, maybe that's just me. I get myself into a complete muddle. If you don't, well done. Right, fold that bit over, that bit over. The less you can play with your double-sided tape with your scissors, the better your scissors are going to be. You are that way. You are that way. Sitting this in here. Evening it up. Folding that down. Right. Technically, there it is. So we've got one going this way, one going this way, one going this way, and then this one will be attached to our book and go that way. Make sense? Right, so for our first bit, what I want to do with these is play with all our book pages that we tore out. or play with some of my book pages. They're not necessarily the ones that have been torn out from this, because I've got so many that I've just grabbed. And sometimes you need to watch the book that you've gutted. Find a book that's appropriate, maybe. So I have a book that had a really nice hardcover that I've gutted because I like the colour. But the actual pages, it's In Search of England. So it's really safe to use, I suppose would be the best word for it. So you can see these ones. This page, I'm going to use full pages, so I'm going to use this side, not this side, because I end up with gaps. This one is fine both ways. So for my first, and I like torn. If you don't like torn, don't use torn. You can trim them so that they're nice and straight. This one, because it's a smaller envelope, I'm going to lose that In Search of England, which doesn't worry me at all. You can see then whether it'll fit or not. This one should just fit down both of these. So and it's got a really nice feel to it. So I'm going to go a little bit smaller than my script. That way I'll see a little bit of my envelope. But again, that's just me. It's up to you how much you want to see. I'll tear that bit off. Sitting that in there, that in there. Let's have a look at what we've got. I can tear it a little bit more off the bottom. And that fits on there nicely now. So for me, I'm going to ink my edges, but just my edges, and run it along so it looks like it's burnt, because I want to keep that feeling going all the way through my journal. It's up to you the way you want to go. As you all know, I'm doing mine in a vintage style. You're doing it in brights, you're doing it whatever. You're using different digitals and working to a theme with those. I've had a couple of comments where, oh, it's difficult to not work with a theme. Work with a theme, by all means. Print out a kit and just work off that one kit. I tend to grab a bit from here and a bit from there and a bit from there. I very, very rarely ever use just one kit for one thing, unless I'm doing it for a design team project or something like that, that I need to use the full kit with. Most times, this is me, and I don't need that again, and I just tend to grab bits and pieces that I like. So it's up to you how you use your products, what you use for your products. Oh, look at that. I was using that a while ago and didn't do it up. That'll teach me. All right, so I'm just going to use my glue stick. So, yes, so if you want to use a themed kit, by all means, use a themed kit on this. It doesn't have to be the same as mine. What I'm doing is just giving you ideas for flips, how to do a basic altered book, but it's mainly on tips and tricks and techniques on how to do flips. You don't have to do a full book of flips, but when you're doing a journal and you decide you want to do a flip, you've now got an idea of what sort of flips are available, because you'll have this sitting there for that. So that's my first page, my first one. I want to use my laces and things like that. So I've got my pile of laces that I've used on this. So here's just a little natural cotton trim, really, more than a lace. And it's going to go down the side. But I want my butterflies. So this is from the Tailor-Made Journals kit. And I'm going to have a look. It's going to go just in there. Probably should have inked these ones first. And they're just very roughly cut out from the pages of this digital set. So this is going to go here, but I'm going to knock it over a little bit so it's not dead smack in the centre, because I want this one in here, which will even that up. Does that make sense? So this guy's going to go straight on, and we can just use our Glue stick again. I'm just off camera gluing that. I'm fairly certain I'm off camera, yeah. Because there's so many glue spots on this at the moment. Right, so it's going to go about there. Evened top and bottom. Try and do it straight, Kylie. Right. And I want to pop this one in. So I'm going to turn it sideways so that I'm running straight down. And because this has been folded, I'm actually going to go that way so that my folds are going down and the natural point of it will want to point down instead of lifting back up. So I need that. Just very lightly sit it on, and then you can see where you need to trim it off. About there. It's always easier to trim it first than once you've actually got it stuck down. And if it's a little bit small, just stretch it a little bit as you're doing it a little bit long. Just push it together a little bit. So now I want to rectify that. Wow, girl. It was running everywhere earlier, and so I very quickly set it aside, but I thought I'd done it up. So I obviously haven't. I'm just going to go straight down the side. Let's see if it'll come out now at all. Here it is. Don't want too much. There we go. Do it up this time. Sitting down there. And look at the book pages that you're using. Sometimes you'll find chapters or the name of a book. I love it when I have big chapter numbers sitting there. I will utilise those all the time. So with this one, when I tore this out, I had that there. So search is one of those awesome words that can be used for so many things. So if I just trim that, even though I'd had it torn originally. So now I've got a little word that was just sitting on my book page that I've used. And I can stick this down here like that. How hard is that? I'm looking for my tweezers is what I'm looking for. And just a little bit of glue stick. I might need to take my tweezers off that to start with while I just glue that up. Look at that. How hard was that for our first one? Okay, so over here, and I know I said I wasn't going to stamp, but you can hand draw this, or, now this is a stamp. It is a clear stamp. There are quite a few, and I should have that. Oh, maybe I put it away. Quotes, words, notes. There are quite a few line stamps, and if you don't have any, they're probably one of those wonderful things to invest in. And look, investing in them these days is not that expensive. Years ago, yes, stamps were really, really expensive. You could only ever get rubber stamps, wooden backs, and all the rest. These days, your little clear stamps are so easy to come across. I'm just going to dump that down there. I will need a block. And half the time, and I know, you're all going to say to me, oh, that should have been stamped before it was all done. That's fairly. But I'm only going to go there, like that. What I am going to do is get a little piece of foam, sit it under there, just so it's sitting on that, gives it a little bit of bounce. And I'm going to ink it up with, I don't know, let's go sepia. Doesn't have to be perfect, just going up and back. And in all honesty, if it's not wonderfully perfect, I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to lift it up. Give it a push. That way, if you've got any, like your laces and things like that on the front, it's going in and around all those. There you go. So you could hand draw that by all means. But one of these little lined stamps are one of those great things just to have in your arsenal, because you can use them for all sorts of things. Now, words. Again, you know how I was talking about, we've just used search on the other one. I have a little container that I'm losing that is just full of little words. Now, they're words that I've purchased from things from, I think that could be a Tracy Fox one, all the rest. But I've also got ones that I've cut out from scrapbook papers or other things that I've come across. And I've got all sorts of things in here. Now, some I will probably never use in a pink fit, but I have them because you never know. Like, remember, that sits nicely in there. You've got today, adoring, that's not me. Discover works, admire, all of these just different. Explore, of course, classy, again, that's not me. Memo. Let's just do that. That's a nice, easy one to do. And it works for so many bits and pieces. So I'm just going to pop, you go there. Right. At the moment, it's fairly large. I don't really want it that big. So I'm going to just chop a bit down, and I'm going to make it into a fishtail. Somewhere in the centre, like a banner. Yes, you can measure and mark all of these if you're that way inclined and need them perfect. Look at that. How hard was that? It's just a matter of looking at what you've got sitting around. I'm just getting rid of the white edge that's on that. That can now just be stuck down with your glue stick. Oh, I like the pattern on the back of that too. There you go. And it just gives it a little bit of different. We could fussy cut a butterfly or something like that out, and I'll probably do that later on. So, next envelope. Again, I'm sticking to the theme of my book pages and my butterflies. So I want another book page, going that one. Now this one, you can see my envelope is a little bit larger. So what else have I got in here? You're a little bit smaller. You will definitely fit. Have I got a larger one in here? I thought I did at one stage. No. There you go. So we're going to use these. All right. I'm going to use that one and keep that one for my last one. So I'm going to tear this down below and keep my number this time. And I can go down these and I'll take a bit of those off. You can use your ruler if you're worried about tearing. Some papers tear better than others. And up that one. See how I'm just measuring it as I go, kind of, in a vague area. That's what all of my tearing is. It's just somewhere around about the general area of that. I really don't want In Search of England, but what I'm going to do is go in the centre of it so that there's writing there, but not exactly spelling out In Search of England. I'll go back over that and see how you now really can't tell that that's what that said. Going over that. And down. We can ink that one up, and I'm just going to change that because No, I'm not. It's drying beautifully. All right, we will ink this one up. Might get one more go out of it. Straight down. Well, I've got it there. I can play around and rearrange and move where I need to. Give it a good squish. If you end up with any that don't stick, just pop your liquid glue back under them later on. I tend to go through mine at a later date anyway. A couple of days later, have a look, see if they've all dried properly, and just check all my corners. So see how that one, and I can't really feel much there. So what I do in a couple of days is get my liquid glue and just pop a little bit on the corner, and then I can push them down. But I usually wait for a couple of days just to make sure that everything's stuck down that needs to be stuck down and they don't want to lift straight away. Right, so envelope 2. Move that one. We will find another one of these. Let's go that one, and you will fit in there as well. So we'll ink you straight down. It's just give it a bit of definition. That's really all I'm doing. So now he'll stand out a little bit more, and I want more lace. So this time I want this, which is a wider lace, and it's a flat wider lace, okay? What I want to do is gather it. Now, I could put a piece of thread through there and gather it. I'm not that patient. I'm telling you now. If you want to do it, by all means. I am back to my double-sided tape. Top. Sitting it on. Give it a good push. And I will use my tape to gather my... I'm just going to sit you to the side. So let's have a look and see if this has got an up and a down, a right or a wrong. I don't think it does, so I can just use it. What I'm going to do is peel that off, and then I'm just going to gather like so, okay? Makes it so much easier, so much quicker, and then it's all going to be glued down anyway, so it's not going anywhere. I sit that in there, which starts it, and then I can just gather as much or as little as I like. You can pull it back up and re-stick some if you don't like the effect of it. But when I turn that over, now I've got a gathered piece. Okay, and I will trim that back there to make it nice and straight, and I will trim that one. I want a little bit more gather on the end of that. So see how you can pull it back up? And like that. Right. Now you can box pleat them. You can just gather them. So I've now got that. So I'm going to trim straight up there. Lots of different ways to use lace as well, without just having them running down the side or things like that. Pop that on there. There's my pin for my lace. They'll all go back into my drawer. And let's have a look. Yes, see this one's sitting out. So I'm just going to trim it up so that it's nice and neat without sitting out. Like that. And this one can now sit on here. Look at that. How easy was that? Really? So what I'm going to do to stick it down, I could use my normal glue. I could use all of that, but just to show you something else, and we've all used our white glues and our lace glues and our glue sticks and all the rest. If I pop another bit of tape on that, that's going to hold that in beautifully, and it's also going to stick it onto my page. It's so handy, so handy. So now what I can do is just use my glue stick on the rest of that. Just turn you over a little bit. Now peel that off first, because the glue stick wants to dry fairly quickly. there's that one. I'm just going to go straight down. But they're just different ways of adhering things onto your page. Just thought I'd show you, you know, it might not be necessarily every time I do it that way. There might be numerous times, numerous different ways that I will do things. I want that lace fairly close to the top, and I want you to go there. But I just want to show you as many different ways, tips and tricks, while we're going through all this, so that you've got all those options at your disposal as well. So there's that one. This one's going to go that way. Now with this one, we've got this envelope sitting there. Okay, so what are we going to do about that? Again, we could use this, but I'm running out of my book pages. So let's just find a different book page. What have I got down there? Hang on just a moment. Oh, got other book pages here. We might need... Oh, I grabbed this at Op Shop the other day. But let's have a look and see what I've got. It's a safe book, but it's got all these wonderful things in it. Right. And I got it for all the old ads and the checks and things like that that are in it. But it's going to give me something down that way. So what I'm going to do is trim it straight down there so that I've got a straight edge. And I know that this is a safe book because it's a history book type thing. That makes sense. So, and I'll move that. I'm going to just across the top of that so that I've got a straight edge at the top. That's in there. And I'm going to go about there, because I like that pencil mark. What do you reckon? Down like that. That's the same size now as my envelope. But I love tearing. Love tearing. And it just gives a little bit of difference. So now if I sit that there, I've got this. Doesn't matter about the words. It's just the thought of them. It's that script in the back. And if you've picked a safe book, you're fairly right. And let's face it, if we've been doing journaling for any length of time, we've all done it. We've picked ones and done this beautiful page and then actually looked at what was written on the book page. Come on, admit it, we've all done it. So it's one of those things. Right, that can be stuck down there. I actually want that a little bit deeper because it's a different colour book. Like this is my book that I've been using. See how it's a different colour? So I'm just going to pull out my antique linen, and I know I've got that brown in there now. I'm just going to basically go over and give that a little bit of a different colour just so that it ties it all in beautifully, betterer, whatever word we want to use. Just with, it's had a hard life, doesn't need to be perfect. I don't do perfect. This is my brushed corduroy, whether there's anything on there. Oh yes, there is, look at that. So I want a little bit more in that. And I want some really dark edges up here. And in there. Now I'm just going around in circles. Right, so I've given that completely different look. I need to write that up. Just so I don't get it on anything else. We're going to go back to this one. Now I've got a completely different colour there. I'm just going to ink it up. Ink it up. No, I'm not. I've already inked it up. I'm going to stick it down. And then I'm going to stay with my butterfly theme for this one. You'll notice, yes, all of mine have different themes, and I swap and change. That's just me. I swap and I change, and I'm all over the show. I'm happy being me. You should be happy being you. All right, up here, down, lift it up a bit. There we go. And it's a really quick, easy way to do the other side of an envelope ready for your journaling card. So let's stick with our butterflies. Can't be bothered fussy cutting any butterflies, so let's look over here. Birds, receipts, birds, birds, birds. Where are my butterflies? And they're all still sitting here. All right. Butterflies. So I have 2 little containers of all sorts of butterflies, from butterfly stickers to fussy cuts to all sorts of things. Now, if I use ones that are too big, because this one is a different type of envelope, I can only put stuff from here to here. Okay, how are we going for time? 40 minutes. Beautiful. So we're going to look at these medium-sized butterflies that I've already got sitting here. See, I love these, but see how he's too large? Way too large. They're the Tim Holtz ones. I've got a sideways one here. He's not bad in there, is he? So let's just use him. And again, he's got that white edge. You know me, I'm not really keen into the white edge. So what I'm going to do is just vintage him a little bit. I'm going to pull out my tree branch, and I'm going to get him, and I'm going to lose that white edge. So a little bit of a brush, and I'm just going to go light circles just to take off that white edge. It's not really turning it brown too much. It's just extending the colour a little bit, I suppose, would be the best way, without giving it that real, I've missed all my edges when I've cut it out. And that's just because, you know, years ago when you cut things out, they were close to the edge. And so we're all starting to get used to now having this where they're not. All right. So I'm going to go back on that so that I don't have any ink sitting there. Will now fit up in there. So let's glue him down again. Let's find a spot that's not gluey. Just take your time, Kylie. Less haste, more speed. Isn't that what it is? Right. And he's going to go like that. Just going to give that a push, because it's a heavier weight cardstock, I suppose, and I might need to go back with the liquid glue. We'll see how we go. So there's that one. So there's that one, and there's that one. And again, we're going to go with this one. And, yep. So size-wise, I'm pretty good. So it's kept the cohesiveness there of all these envelopes. Do I get to cut out? Yes, I do. It's kept the cohesiveness of all these envelopes by just giving it the torn paper. Okay, I can take that bit off as well. I'd like to see if I can keep the 40 in that bit. No, 40's going to go. 40's going to go. Up there, up there, a little bit down there. That's a wonky one. It's a wonky one. And a little bit off that side. Not much. And as I said before, if you struggle tearing, use your water brush. I used the water brush the other week to show you all. I can't remember which one it was. But use your water brush if you're struggling cutting them out. All right, that's that one. I'm going to need, because I didn't, oh, hang on. Yeah, I might have it over there. I have my little box of goodies for this album, for this journal, sitting here, and I just, depending on what project I'm working on, I swap over my boxes. I've got this one sitting here again. I might have the other sheets. All right, so there's that one. go to a fresh page for that so that I can ink all. Ink. It's not ink. What am I doing? I'm gluing. I'm gluing. So, it is Thursday before Easter. I'd like to wish you all a happy Easter. Hope you have a lovely Easter and you get to spend some family time. You get to spend some you time, quality you time. And you get to eat lots of chocolates. So, I've just got to put that out there because for me, apart from everything else, Easter is the only time of the year where you can legitimately have chocolate for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Okay? Just saying. I will be gorging myself on chocolate because I love it. Right. So I've got that. So see how we've now got all these torn edges with our book page, and it gives that difference as we're going through because you can get all your different areas. So that's that one. And again, I want to use, I got my butterflies, thinking this one might be nice in there. And I've obviously not printed this one correctly because it's cut off a little bit. That's all right. If we don't use it for that, what are we going to use it for? Right, that's that one. I want some more lace for this one. This time I'm going to use this lace. No, I'm not. What I'm looking for is my, and I had it here. My, what do you call it, girls? Cheesecloth. I had everything sitting here, ready to use. And I've done, I had it before because I pulled it out and got it caught on my finger. There it is. I got it caught on my finger. So, once again, what I'm going to do is put my double-sided tape down there to hold my cheesecloth. Just straight down. And you'll notice I cut mine. I don't tear it because I find it's too hard to peel the backing off if it's torn. Set you aside. So my cheesecloth should be just a nice little off-cutty strip, and I reckon I'll use a lot of it. I'm just going to wind it out. Right. It's going to sit, I want it to sit right up there. So, let's have a look. Up there, in that. I just want it messy and loose. That's going to sit down there and hold it all in place. And then I can tease it out and give it that well-loved look. I'm just going to lightly sit it on. See how it picked it up? But now it means what I can do is really tease it out. It's sitting there already, and I can give it some love or unlove, whatever you want to call it. So I'm pulling out all these threads. And now when I sit this down, and it'll stick out a little bit from there. That's me. That's what I like. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do the same, okay? So let's just see how we go with that. Now, any of these you could use as pockets again as well. Don't forget that. So if you're sticking them on, you could stick them on with just the 3 edges and use them as pockets as well. Okay. Oh, I hope you couldn't hear that. That's my stomach rumbling. It must be lunchtime or breakfast time. A couple of coffees is all I've had today. It's probably not enough. Right, so we've used 3 completely different glues to glue all these on today, just to show you. It's up to you which glue you want to use. I'll slide that across like that. Work out where I want it so that this is still hanging over. So my butterflies are not dead smack in the centre. They are kind of straight, a little bit. There's that one. So now look at all this. Now on to this one. And I've missed a page. There we go. Oh, Are we there? I've got the thread for my microphone sitting there and I've just caught it. Just caught it. Right. Back to my WhichCraft Do You Do once. So this is out of that mini journal kit again. And they're the belly bands that they have in there. But they make just lovely strips. And here's the bit of our envelope. Let's use this to get rid of some of that. Okay? So we're going to trim down there because I only want this section. Now you can trim down, you can tear. It is up to you. I might trim it just so that it's not quite so rough. And we'll go straight down there, like so. And then we'll do the same to the other side. And we'll just go straight down there. Okay. Might have to move that bit up. And we'll cut that last section off as well. Like so. Which I didn't. There we go. Now we have. And yes, I know it's got this, but I'm not overly concerned about it. For me, they're just, I don't know. They're found items as such for most of our journals. And I like that little bit that not everything has to be perfect. I'm not into perfect. It's just as simple as that. So this one's a little bit further down. It's not, you know, it's not as close as the other one. I'm happy with the gap that this one's got that I can tuck things into. So this one's going to go in here like so. And I'm just going to stick it there. Want a little bit of lace again. That's this one. And again, it's one like this. So what I'm going to do, so you can see this lace. It's got this edge here, but it's got a nice edge here. So I'm going to tuck it under that way. So at this stage, I'm just going to cut it the same size as that. This one's going to sit in here. So I'm going to take it out to about there. Okay. I want something else in there. I want something else in there. And I know I promised you all I wasn't going to stamp. We're on week, what? Lesson 7? It's creeping in. I'm sorry, girls. I am so sorry. But I have to. I just have to. I love stamping. I'm going to use just that little one there. I just think it's so versatile and you can do so much with it. You can change how you use a specific stamp each time. So I'm just going to use a very well-loved little tiny script stamp that has probably never been cleaned in its life. Might occasionally be wiped over, but that's it. And I want to stamp on this and just put little bits of script there. Now, if I do that, I'm going to get it all over everything else, aren't I? So let's say we've got that. This is just a scrap piece of paper. I'll make it around about the same size as that envelope. Doesn't need to be that big because it makes it harder to get in. And I'm just going to tuck that in there. So what I've now done is create a mask that won't stamp onto there. Okay, so that's this one. We're going to stick another little piece. I've got so many scraps everywhere. Under there. So that I don't get it onto the other envelope that's sitting there as well. Don't need to worry about this bit because we're covering this bit up. So if we stick with that sepia that we had out before, so that that's still cohesive as well, and I'm just going to do this finger stamping as such. So I haven't put a foam block underneath it or anything, and I'm just going to tap and tap anywhere I like on this. So see how I'm getting this wonderful little mottled effect. Up, down there, up, down. That makes sense, doesn't it? They don't have to be straight. It's just to give you some other bits going on your page. Just like that. That's all you need. Just a little bit. Now, we haven't used the full of that stamp. We've used just parts of it. Sit there. That is a permanent ink, so it'll be dry, and then I can just put it away because I don't have it to clean them. And there we go. Now we've got that. So with our lace glue again, which I didn't do up, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue down here just to catch that lace that I want to use. Do it up, Kylie. Do it up all the way. Do it up all the way. And I know that this is going to catch over to that. So if I sit it this way again for me, because it's easier. And I'm just going to sit this so that those are like that. So that when this one goes on, it catches that loose bit there. And that's what I've ended up with. Okay? And that's another way to use your wider laces. What I'm looking for is my pink scissors. And I just want to trim this one off. Once it's fully dry, I will go back and trim properly. But at the moment, it's not going to get caught on everything else, so I can get it out of the way. Pin you. Put you over there to go back into the drawer. And now we will stick this one down like that. Okay. So I'm just going to use my glue stick. And then we better wrap this up because this was going to be a quick one and I'm up to 57 minutes. Oh, look, and at that, it's never going to load in the time that I want. So, very quickly, there's the top of my envelope. I'm going for this one. Running it down the side of that envelope. Trim that over. That's the bit we want to trim off. Again, I might use my blade on that later on. We'll just get it out of the way to start with. Right. How's that? Now, we do have this one. We better put this in the book. We better find the book. Here we go. But you get the gist now of what we're actually doing with it. This one is going to go here. What I want for that one is this. And I want this the same size as that envelope so that it sits behind the envelope. So you can see here, this is the size of my envelope. So I'm going to go around about here and about here. That's where that will take it. These ones are slightly skew whiff on the page. It's just one of those things. So you can see, if I sit that there, you can see that it's skew whiff. So if I turn my ruler so that that's on there, when I go to that mark, I'm going to be fairly straight. And the whole thing then has given me a straight edge here. Okay, so that's now straight and I can go from that one. Makes sense? All right, and I'm going to go, it's going to need to go either side of that wording. It's about there and it's about there. Again, sit this on a grid. A bigger grid will make things easier, but, you know, who's counting? We're going there and there. There's one. So I've got this side and this side that are straight now. And I'm going there. I may need to go up one so that I can actually see because I've got such a small grid here. And there's that other marking, which is about there. So I've got the same, both of those. And our bottom one, we've now got these ones that are all nice and straight. And we're going to take it to that one. Fairly well. I think the whole thing's just a little bit crooked. Right. That should fit that beautifully. All right, so this time what we want to do is ink up our edges. This is no way known this is going to load by 4 o'clock this afternoon. I've hit the minute. So that one. This one's going to go in here. Just like we were doing with our other envelopes. Okay, and it'll go in there like that. Same thing, double-sided tape down there. Like so. Trim that off. Give it a good push down. Trim up there so that we don't have all that bulk. Love craft envelopes. These are just so cool to use. Right, then I'll explain with my other one. Make sure you're the right way round, because it's at this point, if you put it upside down, you'll be crying. That one goes that way. That one goes that way, so he's going to sit in here like this. There we go. And that will get stuck onto there like so. That's it. So let's pull this one out. Right, seen this one done? And this one. So you can see how they're different sized envelopes, so they'll have bigger things on them and all the rest. And that one, that was my big one. So again, it's got some book page and then more butterfly sheets. There we go with the stamping, a little bit of fussy cutting on there. The back of this one, I've just torn an old newspaper and put here, but I like this colour. And then that's just stuck onto your background page so that they're all then attached to your book. Okay, sorry I've had to rush it at the end. Glad you came along for class again today. We will try and get this uploaded, but once again, I am so sorry that this is late. Happy crafting, girls. All right, till next time. Bye.